Israel admits to the unthinkable. Hind Rajab's killing is back in focus as a shocking new admission emerges. Hind Rajab's 2024 killing back in focus, after Israel's military acknowledges a previously disputed detail. IDF opens criminal probe, admits firing at the car carrying the 5-year-old, reopening one of Gaza war's most haunting cases. A confession that no one saw coming? Gaza war's most shocking case is reopened as Israel faces fresh scrutiny. Setback after setback for Netanyahu amid a growing rift with Trump, as the Hind Rajab case returns to the spotlight. For the first time, Israel has admitted to the killing of 5-year-old Palestinian Hind Rajab, reopening one of the Gaza war's most scrutinized cases. Israeli forces admitted to opening fire at a vehicle in 2024 that was carrying Hind Rajab and her family in Gaza, marking a major reversal. The IDF has opened a criminal probe into Hind Rajab's killing after previously denying that its forces played any role in the incident. The IDF had previously maintained that its forces were neither near the vehicle nor within firing range when the deadly shooting occurred. The military now says its review found that troops fired at a vehicle approaching them, dramatically changing its earlier account of events. The IDF said, and I quote, "On the 29th of January, 2024, media reports were published regarding IDF fire that allegedly hit a vehicle carrying members of the Hamas family in Gaza City. The review found that IDF forces fired at a vehicle that approached them while traveling against the evacuation direction announced in advance by the IDF spokesperson. According to the published reports, this was the Hamas family's vehicle, which came under fire during the incident. As a result of the fire, 5 passengers were killed, while 2 survived, Hind Rajab and her cousin Layan. In the hours following the shooting, following a telephone call to rescue personnel in which both girls initially participated and later Hind alone, an evacuation effort was coordinated. A Red Crescent ambulance journey was then coordinated to evacuate the casualties, but when the ambulance reached the scene, it was hit by a shell. The strike killed the 2 paramedics aboard the ambulance, adding another devastating chapter to the incident." End quote. The 5-year-old was killed after her family's car came under fire in Gaza during the war, leaving Hind trapped inside the damaged vehicle. Rajab survived the initial attack and pleaded for hours for paramedics to rescue her, as her desperate calls drew international attention. The ambulance sent to save Hind Rajab also came under fire, killing the paramedics who had reportedly gone to evacuate her. 12 days later, Rajab's body was found inside the car, which was reportedly riddled with bullets after the deadly attack. Now, Israeli forces say the firing raised a reasonable suspicion of criminal misconduct, prompting the case to move into a formal investigation. The IDF said, and I quote, "Several days later, the bodies of all 7 Hamas family members, including Hind and Layan, were recovered from the vehicle. The bodies of the 2 paramedics were also recovered from the ambulance, bringing the full human toll of the incident into focus. After examining the findings, and in light of apparent shortcomings regarding coordination of the Red Crescent ambulance's movement, further scrutiny was ordered. It was decided to continue examining the incident through an investigation by the Military Police Criminal Investigation Division. In light of this decision, no further details can be provided regarding issues arising from the mechanism's review." End quote. The Israeli military has also opened a criminal probe into the 2025 killing of 15 paramedics, adding to mounting scrutiny over wartime conduct. The IDF said its fact-finding mechanism has examined around 150 incidents from the Gaza war as part of its broader reviews. Trouble mounts as Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu battles a reported rift with U.S. President Trump, even as scrutiny over Gaza continues. As Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu seeks another term in office, a new report by Axios has revealed the latest apparent strain in his relationship with U.S. President Donald Trump. According to the report, Trump has described Benjamin Netanyahu as his own worst enemy, highlighting the growing tension between the 2 leaders despite their previously close political ties. The reported remark comes at a crucial moment, as Netanyahu is seeking Trump's political backing ahead of Israel's October 27 election, hoping that an endorsement from the U.S. president could strengthen his campaign. However, Trump has so far stopped short of publicly endorsing Netanyahu, even though the 2 leaders have repeatedly described themselves as friends and have maintained a close relationship on major political and security issues. Axios reported that Trump's hesitation to back Netanyahu is partly connected to the Israeli Prime Minister's weak standing in the polls, raising questions about whether an endorsement would actually benefit either leader politically. The report further stated that Netanyahu's Likud party is currently running neck and neck with, or even behind, Gadi Eisenkot's Yashar party in some polling, adding to the uncertainty surrounding the upcoming election. Meanwhile, opinion polls reportedly show Netanyahu's coalition bloc falling short of the 61 seats required to secure a majority in Israel's Knesset, potentially making it difficult for him to form a government after the election. In a sign of Trump's apparent interest in Netanyahu's electoral prospects, the U.S. president reportedly asked the Israeli prime minister just 2 weeks ago how he was performing in the polls ahead of the October 27 vote. Netanyahu reportedly paused before one of his advisors told Trump that the Israeli leader was winning the race. However, polling now presents a far more difficult electoral picture for Netanyahu, with his coalition trailing its current Knesset strength and struggling to reach a governing majority. This comes as tensions are again rising between Hamas and Israeli troops in Gaza, threatening to further strain the fragile situation. Hamas operatives have allegedly stolen IDF drilling equipment in southern Gaza again, marking another reported security breach. This is reportedly the second time Hamas operatives have engineered a heist within just 1 week, deepening Israeli concerns. Israeli officials are reportedly concerned that Hamas may rig the stolen equipment with explosives and turn it into a deadly trap. The IDF allegedly claimed Hamas could return the rigged equipment to the battlefield in an attempt to kill Israeli soldiers. On August 16th, a group of Hamas operatives were reportedly spotted stealing ground drilling materials during the operation. However, Israeli troops reportedly did not open fire on the Hamas operatives despite the alleged theft. Another Hamas cell was also reportedly spotted operating beyond the yellow line during ongoing IDF operations. Last week, Hamas operatives were reportedly seen crossing the yellow zone to steal equipment from Israeli positions. More than 65 yellow line incursions by Hamas were reportedly recorded within 2 weeks, according to Channel 14. The number of reported crossings has allegedly tripled since the ceasefire with Israel, raising fresh security concerns. A senior Israeli official alleged that Hamas may be preparing a major attack against IDF forces in the Gaza Strip. But the IDF denied that any incursions or equipment robberies were carried out by Hamas, according to Channel 14. Israeli troops stationed along the Gaza border are warning of fresh armed activity inside the Strip, raising new concerns about possible preparations for further attacks. The soldiers say they have observed gunmen operating in the area, while also reporting that explosives are being placed near the so-called Yellow Line, increasing fears of renewed violence. The Yellow Line divides areas of Gaza that are under Israeli control from those controlled by Hamas, making the reported activity particularly sensitive for troops stationed nearby. Some Israeli soldiers say the situation feels eerily similar to the period leading up to the October 7, 2023, Hamas-led attack, when warning signs were reportedly building before the assault began. Before the 2023 attack, Israeli surveillance troops had warned their superiors about Hamas training and preparations that appeared to be connected to a potential large-scale assault. Israeli surveillance soldiers had also reported suspicious Hamas movements and explosive-related activity, describing developments that they believed could indicate preparations for an imminent attack. According to a report by the Times of Israel, many of those warnings were not acted upon in time, raising questions about how seriously the intelligence was treated before the October 7 attack. Now, Israeli soldiers fear that their latest alerts about Hamas activity could once again be ignored, potentially allowing warning signs to go unaddressed until it is too late.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.